Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another broadcast of the Kings of the North. You're going to notice that I'm Temple, but the person that is with me is not Ravi, a.k.a. Fear Dragon, but it is my boy, Poke Bunny, Nick Tabor. How the hell are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Being able to cast these has been a pretty big pleasure. So far, so good. We had some crazy games yesterday. I know you might be a little bit sad that our Terran matchup is going to be the third one, but hey, it's all about warming it up, right? We're breaking into your casting career, man. It's going down.
At least I've got one. I think I can hold out till then.
Yeah.
First matchup's gonna be a ZVZ though, so we'll see how that goes.
Yep, your favorite matchup. This is why we brought you in today, because we knew that you would love to do it. But
ZVZ expert.
Yeah, for those that are wondering, guys, this is Kings of the North, and these are matches in a not round robin format, but Swiss format, which is similar to round robin. But these players are going to be playing almost, I want to say, a match against each other, but in round robin, that's how it works. But in Swiss, it's more based on point and seeding there. So we might not see every single matchup as we progress through the games, but we should get a nice mix up and variety as we see here.
Yeah. So. And I think the way I understand it is that none of the players are getting eliminated in this stage. They're just being seeded into the final bracket. I think some players are going to go to the winner's bracket and some to the losers.
Exactly.
Based on their results in this first stage.
Yeah. So we already had like the first stage of like the games that were played last week. So we're going into the second round of it, if you will. So everybody's still here. Everyone's made it so far. So that makes me pretty happy. But those wondering out there in the crowd, we are brought to you by Chairs for Gaming, as they are the title sponsor for this event. Also, if you guys want to check out their chairs, chairsforgaming.com, you can use the code ESCHAMP in order to get a $30 ticket off, or say a discount off chair. DX Racer, one that I'm rocking. I didn't know if you were rocking one too, but
no. Unfortunately not.
So no, think about it, Nick. You can use the code ESCHAMP, and you can get $30 off of a DX Racing chair if you choose to. Our next sponsor, though, also is going to be Asus ROG, Republic of Gamers. They are going to be giving some of the gear that are going to be at the event in order to power this event so that these wonderful players do actually have good computers to play on. And also, if you check out Match Arena, you can add $1 to the prize pool with the code KOTN4. Definitely do that up in order for these players to get the maximum amount of prize money that they can get. But ladies and gentlemen, our first match is going to be a ZVZ on Interloper between BioIce and Jig. And, let's get it on.
Yep. This is the first of our 3 best of 3s today, starting it off with the ZVZ. As you mentioned, between BioIce, who is one of my teammates, and Jig, who plays for Root. I feel like this is a pretty even match here. Like, both of these players are kind of among, not quite the very elite of North America's players, but, they're the ones that you'll see, on the fringe of making it into WCS Challenger. I know BioIce made it in at least twice this year. I think maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Jig played every season, but he was very close in this most recent season. So they're both, definitely very competitive in the North American scene, and it should be a pretty even match.
Word. All right, well, let's go and introduce them as we've already spawned onto the map. Ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom right-hand corner from Sloth Esports Club, it is BioIce. BioIce.
And spawning up here in the top left-hand corner as the Blue Zerg, we have Root Gaming's Jig.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before this started, and the games today seem to be pretty evenly matched. Like, the players that are actually playing each other, it's really hard to say a hard favorite for any of the matches to be like, yeah, no, they're totally going to take the match pretty easily.
Yeah, and I do agree. After this match, we've got Puck versus Suppy and Masa versus Pili Pili. I feel like those two maybe have a slight favorite, but they're definitely matches that I would not call at all. Like
straight,
Puck versus Suppy it's a tough one to predict because Suppy, of course, has been so inconsistent with how much he's playing, and you never really know what sort of form he's in. And then Masa, of course, is absolutely fantastic, but Pili Pili is very good in that matchup. So we should have a lot of interesting matches. But Meanwhile, for this game, we've got BioIce starting off with a hatch first. Well, it looks like Jig did go for some sort of gas cool hatch, so his hatchery will be a bit later, but he's going to have this earlier ling speed, earlier Zerglings, and may be able to leverage that into some sort of advantage. But yeah, pretty standard openings on both sides, regardless. Yeah,
I would say you go for the gas pool, and usually it's kind of just either a safety measure or you just want to go for that earlier Baneling Nest, but he ended up taking one out of gas, so he wasn't rushing out of Baneling Nest.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think we're gonna see. Well, what the Evil Chamber actually?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's probably gonna be like a really early +1 melee attack. I mean, I guess it could be Carapace. It does allow your lings to survive a Baneling hit, but I think usually with this sort of really early Evo, we usually see melee attacks, so the lings really dominate that. You know,
they can just rip through everything too. Yeah, they kill drones really fast.
Right.
And yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, against a small number of roaches, they hold their ground much better in that case as well. But we do have Baneling Nests now going down for both players, and it is going to be the +1 melee attack for Jig. BioIce throwing down that third base pretty early, while of course Jig getting this early +1 melee. Little strap for cash. Tries to pick off a drone. I don't think he did get one. Did he get one? He did.
I think he ended up getting just a single drone there, which isn't too bad, but I think he was able to at least spot that the Baneling Nest too, so he knows the timing of it.
Right, yeah. So he knows. I think he'll be pretty comfortable with that. His own Baneling Nest is around the same time. But Jig is going to have to be the aggressor here, of course.
For sure.
Early +1 attack. When you invest in a melee attack in this matchup, it's a little bit. I wouldn't say all in, but you definitely have to make something happen because
you can't like sit on it.
Yeah, you're investing in an upgrade that doesn't really do that much in the mid game because you usually want to transition into roaches as soon as possible. So you're kind of investing a little bit more into these lings, and it looks like he's doing pretty well here. Might get a cancel on this third. BioIce not really in position to defend, and he's actually going to let it finish.
Oh man, I think he might actually lose it. The Banelings aren't going to get here in time, and Jig is doing a decent job. He has to be careful though. Those Banelings could get a good detonation, but that's all Jig really needed to do, because he is taking a third of his own.
Right.
But I'm assuming that he wants to get a little bit more done because he is down in drones.
Right, yeah, Jig did do, he did get the kill on the third, not just the cancel, so that's definitely a pretty significant bit of damage here as he gets his own third up. He's still got lings moving into the natural. He's going to pick off one queen, but BioIce, in the meantime, is countering on the other side of the map with his lings, so Jig is probably going to be maybe forced to cancel his third. He might actually be able to hold on.
Do you think the +1 lings can actually do it? They have the better surface area. All the Banelings are going to finish here for BioIce, perhaps, if Jig doesn't target him down. It's going to be really close, but I think he should get it pretty easily. And that's a really good defense there.
Yeah, Jig moving into the natural with a few Banelings. BioIce is going to have to split his drones, but it doesn't look like he's really paying too close attention. Banelings running in circles a little bit, but do manage to get a few kills. And BioIce taking some losses on the other side of the map as well. He's got 5 drones also rallied across the middle of the map.
Oh, that happens. I hate when that happens so much.
Yeah, it could be in great danger, but it looks like they might just barely make it back to the natural.
They're +1 lings, though. They could probably tag a few of them, but yeah, they just get there in time.
Yeah, BioIce once again moving to take that third, but I think it's going to get canceled or killed once again. He doesn't have any Banelings quite ready.
I don't think BioIce really has anything ready.
Chance.
The Banelings can get over there, but then they're just going to be alone, and they don't really have a support. Some of the lings are out here now, but if we look at the state of the game, Jig was able to get his third up. He has more drones. Oh, right. Was it at the exact same time as the Baneling was detonating? But
Jig moving into the natural. This one Baneling does manage to get detonated by a single ling, so he's going to do pretty significant more damage here, killing off a few drones. But on the same time, on the other side of the map, BioIce taking a slightly favorable engagement and going to poke away at that third base once again. I think Jig should get back in time to save it, but it is falling dangerously low here.
It is, and it is only 3 lings, but now a few more of those lings from the other side are going to be here. Jig doesn't have any Banelings right now, so he's just going to try to buy time in order to try to defend this third. That +1 does really do a number.
Yeah, and the straight-up ling versus ling battles is where you really see that +1 making a difference. That one Baneling, of course, shifting the tides towards BioIce, but
it's a big deal, yeah. Because I mean, that's kind of all of his momentum.
Right. Yeah, and one thing that's interesting is Jig has also opted for the +1 Carapace instead of missile attack. Usually in the Roach versus Roach phase, you'll want the attack more than the Carapace. Yeah. This obviously, doesn't become completely useless like the like the melee upgrade does, but it's still, you know, something that you don't usually see players go for if they plan to go in this roach-centric mid-game. But Jig is now starting roach production.
Jig's micro is pretty sick there. He did lose a big group of his lings by his own third, but just by there, you know, like maneuvering around the hatchery, avoiding the banelings, and even though he didn't try to get greedy and just try to take out the banelings, he was able to dance over. Oh, god damn, you chill out. He was able to cancel the third again, which is a pretty big deal. BioIce is forced into a position where he actually has to attack. And I don't think he's going to be able to do too much here with the defender's advantage and the roach production already starting here out of Jig.
Yeah, several roaches out for Jig, and actually with these lings, he's going to be able to get us around on these roaches and kill off all of these attacking roaches.
Yeah, the +1, you were saying it, right? In small numbers.
Yeah.
Lings do a great job.
Ripping through those roaches. BioIce trying to use his reinforcements to take a bit of a better fight, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Jig should plow through all these units, and with a 14 drone advantage as well as taking out the majority of BioIce's army, I'm just not sure what BioIce can do here.
Yeah, there's not much that he can do. He's trying to produce more roaches, but he's down in about 14 drones. And Jig is at his front door, so he doesn't even have enough to defend, yet he's down in drones. It's kind of like a checkmate situation. When it starts to get to the roach wars, it's not like that one single baneling's gonna do too much anymore. But hey, BioIce, whoa!
Yeah, it looks like Jig might have overcommitted just a little bit. These roaches do have +1 carapace, so they are a little bit stronger than BioIce's roaches, and he is able to back his way out with most of his forces intact. And I mean, even though, you know, Jig may have overcommitted a tiny bit there, if you take a look at the drone count, wow,
he's
Jig
droning even more. Did you see that?
Drones. Yeah, it's just not even close. He hasn't started a lair yet, it looks like, which is a little bit surprising to me, given how much of an advantage he has. I think that he want to get that started as soon as possible. But with both players still in hatchery tech, I mean, there's really, like, the only way that Jig could lose is just he just doesn't make
if
units.
He makes another round of drones like right now.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, he's got so many already that I can't imagine him doing that.
It'd be just kind of absurd. And Jig is going to be into droning mode too, but it looks like I don't think he can ever catch up. Right. He doesn't have that lair tech either, so even though he's starting it now, I think the drones that Jig was making during that last attack, they're going to be able to... Oh, well, hold that thought, as we do have an attack over at the natural base.
Yeah, BioIce moving into the natural, getting a little bit of damage done here, but it looks like the reinforcements from Jig will be plenty to clean it up, and BioIce plummeting his supply, still on a vastly inferior drone count, going to have to make more and more units just to stay alive, but
just to survive,
don't even know if that's going to be possible with the number of roaches on the field for Jig.
Yeah, he's nearly doubling the supply, and even though he invested into the lair, if he had got it earlier and like we would say this was the same kind of situation and he was able to drop down a spire or do something in order to at least use that lair tech, maybe there would have been something there. But I mean, they were both on hatchery tech for so long that it was just a numbers game, game of drones, son.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really interesting is that since both players were on hatchery tech and, you know, BioIce didn't get, you know, any sort of roach upgrades or lair or roach speed or any of that stuff, the +1 melee really paid off. You know, it had a pretty big window of time where it was effective.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that +1 melee fall off really quickly if your opponent gets a decent number of roaches, because then even with +1, the lings aren't really too effective. But with both players staying on hatchery tech for so long and BioIce repeatedly trying to, you know, defend that third, we really saw the melee attack upgrade pay off early on, and allow Jig to continually get the edge in those smaller engagements.
Yeah, no, absolutely right. Just the fact that Jig was really good. He invested in a, I would say, sometimes risky upgrade. If you don't do anything with it, then you are behind in the roach count because you did invest that 100 gas into it. But the fact that he did so much work with it, and it was throughout the whole game. It wasn't even just that little stage of the Ling Bane phase. Just not allowing BioIce to get home by being able to surround those roaches and actually kill them that fast.
Yeah,
hold them in place.
Yeah, for sure. It takes a while for those roach numbers to get high enough to really make those +1 lings worthless. You know, you see the roaches come out and you're like, okay, you know, we're into the roach phase of the game. But really, it's not quite that simple, I guess.
No, you got to get that +1 on the roaches there. And then
yeah,
just being able to get a position that the lings can't do anything.
Yeah, that's true as well. The positioning matters a lot in this kind of battles, and with BioIce constantly on the map, Jig was able to get the engages that he wanted.
I can't blame him, though. I mean, there's a lot of times where you feel like after defending, you're able to at least do something, right? If they get too greedy. But
Yeah, I mean, he was down in drones, and he did get a third base killed repeatedly, so he was in a tough spot no matter what.
This mother, it's like,
yeah,
that feeling. It's like, well,
but we will load on into game number 2 here of BioIce versus Jig. The map for game 2 will be Ascension to Ire.
Got a Protoss in sight. They all ascended to Ire, so now the Zerg took over.
Oh man,
here.
Rough life.
I know, right? Feels bad, man. At least we'll have one in the next round, but or at least the next series that we have, it is going to be pucking Suppy. But this is the series we're focusing on right now, ladies and gentlemen, and spawning in the top left-hand corner. He needs to bring it back from Sloth Esports Club. Give it up for BioIce.
And bringing it up in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the winner of our first game. It is Root Jig. He is already starting things off spicy.
Oh boy. Yep. Alrighty then. Let's see it. Jig, what are you doing today? Trying to end things early, I see, my friend.
Yeah, it looks like a 13-12, something close to that anyway.
Yeah, I don't even know what it was, if it was a 13-13, if he went for the extractor on 14. But maybe he did 13-12.
I think it was a 13-12 because I saw him at 12 supply at one point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're...
We do have Hatch first from BioIce, so things will get a little dangerous here for him. It'll be interesting to see if Jig goes for the quick Baneling Nest or does stop to get that link speed. It looks like it will actually just be the link speed, and then he'll take off gas entirely. So he's actually going to be going pretty heavy on the speed links, of course, to get something out of this quick speed investment, but he's not going to go completely for the kill with the early Baneling Nest. This is a little bit of an interesting choice.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times, but not as often.
Right.
I guess it's like less all in, but it's I don't know. It's one of those things where if they do go for that Baneling Nest first, like say BioIce is able to catch on to this, it's not gonna be up to the Baneling trades and anything like that. It's literally just gonna be pure numbers, lings and queens. Yeah. So I think in this style, you tend to try to target down the queens as fast as possible and make it only be Ling versus Ling battle, and never let them really get use of the gas that they invest into.
Right.
Whether it be speed here or the Baneling Nest. I think he's figured it out. Oh no.
BioIce, yeah. Nope. I mean, he has no idea. His overlords haven't seen anything.
He's like,
I mean, he is making.
Overlord. That's pretty cute.
Jig is taking a pretty long time to do anything here. I think he's kind of going for a little bit of a surprise here with this second set of lings. He's just going to kind of show up with like 20 lings.
Yeah, because in this stage of the game, you're usually making drones anyway until you get that third up.
Yeah, I mean, BioIce, he's playing really blind. He didn't even have an overlord go down the center path, and just absolutely has no idea.
Surprise! Jig's here, and BioIce was droning up to 23. Now, this is a good positioning for the drones, but they're not lings either, and the queens are trying their best here. But she's going to get locked up, too.
Yeah, queen going to get surrounded and die without doing almost any damage. There's still about 20 lings on the field for Jig, moving into the mineral line, and I think even with the drone pull and the queen, it's just not going to be enough. Jig just losing, or excuse me, BioIce just losing a ridiculous amount of drones. The drone count has fallen to even with Jig, and Jig still has 15 lings in the main.
Oh man, yeah, and remember, BioIce went for the third base. He didn't go for the Baneling Nest. He went for that style where you try to get an earlier third out, and then maybe put down the Baneling Nest, or decide to go for roach and skip it entirely. But it is going to cost them the game in the series. Jig going to take it 2-0. Brutal build there.
Yeah,
holding it back.
Yeah, that was as quick as it gets. I mean, I think BioIce's biggest, mistake there was just, it seemed like he wasn't even considering the possibility of something like this. His overlord, he didn't have any overlords going down the center path. His overlords were kind of taking indirect routes around the map, which, I guess is potentially safer to see something like this. Usually, someone being aggressive with lings will try to sneak around the side, and maybe he would have caught it. But Jig doing a good job using his own overlords to kind of figure out where BioIce's overlords were not, and taking that path. While BioIce, he kept his lings in his natural. He didn't even kind of attempt to, maybe send a ling out on the map to try to get some advance warning. I mean, he was just caught completely off guard.
And that happens in ZVZ sometimes. I think just with the pure ling style, it's going to hit even harder just because they just come out of nowhere, and there's no time that you have to sit there and wait to morph Banelings in.
Right.
It's just pure numbers right there.
Yeah, the ling speed coming so early that, the rallies across the map would get there so quickly as well. Jake taking a pretty decisive 2-0 victory in our first series of the day.
Not bad, not bad. So remember, guys, it's not the type of format where BioIce is completely out. He is going to take a loss here, so that's going to hurt his record for sure, but he's definitely not completely out of it. Just for today, though. So Jig going to get a nice 2-0. Every game does count, so if it was a 2-1, then BioIce would have benefited from that as opposed to a 2-0 that it was today. So, hey, that's how the cookie crumbles, man. ZVZ in a nutshell.
Right.
Especially with someone like Jig. I think he's given Joe some advice like, yeah, I like making lings and, you know, you make something happen with them and win the game. Like, I don't know the exact quote that Joe said, but it was pretty funny.
Right, yeah. Well, our next matchup will be Puck versus Suppy. I'm not sure if we've got these players ready to go quite yet, but we can talk a little bit about the series nonetheless.
Yeah, old schoolers for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, we got Poke Money casting. Yo, what is it, 2011? What the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's 2011 here. We've got, Suppy, of course, recently joining my team as well, Slothy Sports, and Puck, also a member of Root. So we've got the same teams matching up once again, and we've got another Root player in the next match versus a Psystorm player. So,
Psystorm, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Suppy's been a little bit more active as of late. He did qualify for WCS Challenger this most recent season through the ladder, which was no easy task.
Nah.
I didn't. Him and myself.
For those I don't know. I didn't qualify through ladder, so.
Me either, man. I came 9th. There were 8 spots.
Oh, really?
It was me and Suppy. It was me, Suppy, and No Regret fighting for the last spots at the end.
Damn.
They got him, and I didn't. So yeah, it was a definitely close call. But Suppy seems to be playing pretty well. I mean, even after the ladder qualifier, he went up like another 100 MMR. So sitting pretty nice on the ladder now, as well as I think he did okay in Challenger as well. I know he beat Game Time. I'm trying to think. I don't know if he beat anybody else. But
it didn't do bad at Philadelphia either. Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you always like to think of Suppy like that player who's like, yeah, you know, doing medical school, married life, and I play StarCraft 2 when I'm bored. But it's like, no, I think he takes it a bit seriously, just not as much as like before when he was fully dedicated to it.
Yeah, sometimes. So, I mean, I think he kind of goes off and on about how, how passionate he is about the game at the time. I think lately he's kind of been feeling it a little more. I know after the last Philadelphia, he was like, I really like this community aspect. I think that's one thing that he really enjoys about being involved in StarCraft. So he tries to stay involved in that way. I think that's why he wanted to join a more active team instead of staying with the EG tag until the end of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, EG stands for endgame, doesn't it? No, I'm just kidding. But okay. Well, either way, guys, I mean, the other player obviously is Puck, who happens to be AFK, but I think we're going to go to a quick break, ladies and gentlemen. So when we do come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the matchup, and then we will have that game for you. So it will be another best of 3 PVZ. And our second matchup, the Kings of the North, powered by Cheers for Gaming. And when we come back, we hope to have that match ready for you. So stay tuned. Don't you go anywhere.